What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to dive deeper into something that was just revealed for Season 3 on the Warzone side of things, and I feel this could at least be a partial solution to the downsides of the skill-based matchmaking system for multiplayer. And this is the fact that with Season 3, we're going to be getting a Battle Royale casual mode. And just a recap of what this is, when you select this mode, you're going to be playing against 28 real players and then up to 120 bots to fill up the lobby. And the description for this in the blog post stated, whether you're warming up, want a Battle Royale match that isn't quite as intense as facing off against 149 human opponents, or you need to build up your confidence, Battle Royale Casual is likely the game mode for you. Expect the same rule set as Battle Royale, and up to 27 players dropping in with you, but the majority of your opponents will be computer-controlled bots who may or may not be experiencing skill issues of varying severity. So it does look like they're going to have mixed skilled bots mixed in there, so some of them will be like recruit level bots, and then others may be like regular or hardened. I doubt they're going to be putting veteran bots in there, since those bots can sometimes behave like they have aim bots and wall hacks, because they do. But they went on to say with this, game progression is limited in this mode, and results will not count toward or against your stats. This mode also doesn't count towards your eligibility to accessing BR ranked play when it arrives mid-season. And personally, I love this idea for Warzone. This is actually something I brought up, I think like 3 or 4 years ago. I have talked about this in the past from the perspective of Warzone as well as multiplayer, since I was playing Warzone back then. And I'm so glad they're finally doing this. And more importantly, I'm glad that this is a separate mode where you make the conscious decision to play against bots, rather than doing what some other games do, which is they just mix bots in and they don't tell you that they're mixing those bots in. And when you're in those really low ranks of skill-based matchmaking, you're playing against bots, but you don't really know that you are, and you can't even opt out of that if you wanted to. That's something that I absolutely don't want to see in Call of Duty, since I think at that point it really cheapens the experience. If you're playing in regular public matches, you're able to have the same progression and your stats are still counting, but you're playing against bots. I don't like that. That's why I like that this is a separate mode. And the nice thing about this is it just provides that proper safe space for people to get familiar with the basics of the game if they're brand new to the game or they're just not feeling confident. They feel very overwhelmed when they play regular matches. Even with SBMM present, they still feel overwhelmed. And it's also just a great place to warm up. Even if you're a good player, this would be a great way to just hop in and kind of get a feel for the controls for your first game of the day before hopping into the main modes. Now, of course, as somebody that's primarily just interested in the multiplayer side of things, this immediately had me thinking, why can't we get a mode like this for multiplayer? And just an idea for how I think this should work, it should be a mosh pit of some of the more popular modes like Team Deathmatch, Kill Confirm, Domination, maybe even Hardpoint you could mix in there. And then with this, just like the Battle Royale mode, you have a mix of players and bots. So maybe make it 2v2 as far as real players go, and then the additional 4 players on each team are filled out by bots. So that way you're still going to be running into real players, but the majority of your opponents will just be bots. And then of course, you'd have to have some limitations in place, primarily to prevent the biggest potential issue with a mode like this, and this is smurfing. Now the first potential solution to smurfing could be to limit access to this. So if you're too high of a level, let's just say you've prestiged before, then you can't gain access to this mode. Or maybe your kill death ratio is too high or something, then you can't gain access to this mode. I don't necessarily think that should be the case. I actually like the idea of anyone being able to join this, but I think there should be other anti-smurfing measures in place. The first of which being something they've stated is going to be present in this casual BR mode, and that is limited progression. So you shouldn't be able to grind your camos or calling cards or any sort of challenges in the game. They shouldn't be available within this mode, and the stats shouldn't count on your combat record at all. I would even say for multiplayer, the medals that you earn in-game, those shouldn't be saved on your medals tab as well. Those medals should be reserved for regular public matches only. However, in saying all of this, I think we should be able to earn some XP while playing in a mode like this. However, I think XP gains in this mode should be either capped or it should just have a significantly lower earn rate. So you can progress a little bit, but this would never be a good mode to go into if you were actually serious about progressing at a reasonable pace. You should more so just be allowed to progress a little bit so you feel like you're getting somewhere, and also just to differentiate this mode from just going into custom games against bots, for instance. I think that would also provide a nice place to go and level up some early levels on a gun, for instance, just so you can get some basic attachments and get a good feel for the gun before diving into real, regular public matches. Now, all of that might not be enough to prevent smurfing, so I think we should even take it a step further here. I think we should have a limited selection of score streaks in a mode like this. And mainly, I think all of the high-end streaks should just be blocked off and inaccessible in this mode. So nothing above a Hellstorm missile, for instance, should be available. Because if you do provide like a chopper gunner and harps, for instance, then yeah, the people that are going to want to smurf, they're going to want to use those streaks to really dominate and rack up kills quickly. And if we don't give them access to that, then they're going to be less likely to want to go to this mode. Also, of course, the nuke should not be available in this mode. And then taking it another step further, I think we should make sure there's always very clear labeling when you're getting a bot kill. Like even in the center of your screen when you get a kill, it should very clearly state AI kill or bot kill. And this will be to help prevent content creators from trying to play it off like they're getting amazing real gameplay in this casual mode. Because it would be immediately obvious, especially if it's showing up in the center of your screen. So even if they're going with a vertical layout for TikTok, for instance, and cutting off the kill feed, it should still pop up right in the center of your screen that they're getting kills on bots. And that should discourage those types of players from going into this mode for impressive looking clips. And then one final anti-smurfing thing that I think should be present here, and this one may be a little bit controversial. I think in this mode, skill-based matchmaking should still be present because you're primarily going into this mode to play against bots. And since it is a casual mode, I don't think the really low-skilled players that are playing in this mode should be exposed to the odd person that would want to still come in and try to smurf in this mode. Because especially with 6v6 multiplayer, one really good player could easily come into this mode and just totally clean up and farm these brand new players that are just trying to use this mode to like level up or protect themselves from the full-on standard multiplayer experience. And also, for the high-skill players, if they do want to use this mode just to warm up, it would still be a significantly more relaxed experience, even with the full SBMM present, because most of their enemies are just going to be bots. Sure, they'll still have to fight against some real players that may be a somewhat similar skill level to them, but that's just in between all of the bot kills. So that's something I'd love to see come to multiplayer, a casual mode set up somewhat like that. And you might be wondering, how would this be a solution to skill-based matchmaking? And like I said, I just think it would be potentially a partial solution. I don't think it would solve all of our issues with the modern SBMM. But in theory, if you're providing a mode like this, creating that nice safe space for players to choose to go into, where they can get familiar with the basics, they can ease into the game, they can use it as a warm-up even, and still make a little bit of progress, still feel like they're doing something and not just playing custom games against bots, that could take care of a big part of what the current SBMM system exists for, and that is to provide protection for those really low-skilled players. But in doing that and creating that clear separation between the casual mode and then the regular matchmaking, in theory, that should allow them to loosen up the matchmaking in regular modes, at least to a degree. Now, obviously, I think some form of SBMM should probably still be present there, but I think it should be significantly looser than what we've currently got. And in that case, while it would make the game more difficult for the lowest of low-skilled players, they've at least now got that fallback mode where if they do get overwhelmed by the regular matchmaking, they can fall back into that mode and work on developing their skills a little bit while still making some progress. Then as they build up their confidence or get a good warm-up in for the day, now they can sort of graduate into the regular matchmaking experience, which is much more of a mix, but it's all real players and no bots mixed in. And the idea behind this is to create sort of a funnel for those players so they have that safe space, and eventually they're going to want to graduate out of that and into the regular matchmaking where they now have full access to everything like all of the streaks, their camo challenges, calling card challenges, for instance, and medals. And I think by creating this extra tier with a playlist like this, it would just provide so much more control over your experience. If you want to just get warmed up or really lay back and still make a little bit of progress, you've got this casual mode to go into. Then if you just want the standard Call of Duty multiplayer experience, you've got your regular playlists where there's a much bigger mix and variety of player types that you're going to be running into, and you gain access to all of the elements of the game. And then finally, you have ranked play if you really want to take things further and challenge yourself. Now, at the end of the day, do I think they're going to go with a system like this in multiplayer? Probably not. It does seem like their matchmaking system is doing what they want it to do, which is retain the vast majority of casual players that you don't hear about online, like here on YouTube, for instance. But then again, if you would have asked me if I thought they would bring this to Warzone, I would have said the same thing. I would have said no, probably not, but here we are. So who knows? Maybe this matchmaking system isn't meeting those goals anymore. And now this is a sign that they're starting to look for alternatives. So maybe we could see something like this in multiplayer, because this could be at least a partial solution to the issue. It could help alleviate some of the problems that exist with modern Call of Duty. Now, of course, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear what you guys think in those comments down below. Do you guys like the fact that they're bringing the casual VR mode to Warzone? And do you think we should see something similar like I laid out in this video for multiplayer? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.